Good morning and welcome everybody to Fact Friday. This week we are looking at trust structures within your wills. Now, last week we briefly touched on IPDI Trust, commonly known as life interest trusts. This type of trust structure within your wills are particularly common with married couples as it achieves flexibility and protection instead of leaving your estate outright to your surviving spouse on your death. Now, you will see that we are this week again joined by Alexandra, who will be talking about life interest trusts in more detail for us.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michael. So a life interest trust is the right of enjoyment over an asset. So if you have property within the trust, it's the right to live in the property. Or if you have investments, cash in the trust, it's the right to the income that those assets will produce. I'm going to show you an example of how a life interest trust would work over property. So in the first example, you can see that Basil and Sybil, they own their property as joint tenants, which is how most married couples own property. In this instance, if anything were to happen to Basil, the property would automatically pass to Sybil by survivorship. Now, how a life interest trust can be used in this situation can be seen on the next document. Here we have Derek and Raquel. Now, they own their property as tenants in common, which means that they each own a distinctive share in the property, which can be passed via their will. Now, in this instance, if Derek were to pass away, he would allow Raquel a life interest in his 50% share of the property, whilst making sure that the capital is earmarked and protected for his chosen beneficiaries. Raquel will have the right to live in Derek's 50% share, plus will own her 50% share, so she is also protected with somewhere to live for the rest of her life. Now, with a married couple, this trust is great from a tax perspective, as the life interest trust to the spouse is spouse exempt for inheritance tax. Because the trust is over the main residence, there is no capital gains tax. And because there is no income being generated, there is no income tax to be paid. A life interest trust is an extremely flexible and simple trust to create and run.
Excellent, thank you. Now, our only question this week is who should consider using this type of trust structure within their will?
So this type of trust structure is really beneficial for quite a few reasons. So if a couple are worried about care home fees on the death of one of them, this trust structure can be used to protect 50% of the property. If you have a couple who have children from previous relationships, this type of trust structure can ensure that their own children will receive some monies if they were to pass away first. And then also, if you had a young couple and something were to happen to one of them, it would ensure that any children or their chosen beneficiaries would still benefit from their estate if the survivor were to remarry in the future. Now, these trusts are extremely flexible. So whilst you are putting the monies into a trust, the trustees can advance monies to the life tenant. So it's a flexible trust that protects the monies from third parties, but it doesn't put the monies out of reach or out of your own reach.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alex. Great examples there. I hope everyone can join us again next week, where Alex and I will be discussing discretionary trusts within your wills. Take care. Bye-bye.